Banks? What's wrong with Banks?
I smoke Banks' head up right now.
I'm rolling, bro.
You beg the differ.
I'm rolling.
My shit is a whole. My shit is a whole. My shit is a package.
Bad records are right.
My shit is a package. For my Diddy.
Everybody cannot talk at once.
My shit is a package. Remember that. My shit just ain't the rap, it's just the package. When I come out, they want to see Capo. It's not too many niggas that got that package.
You might got the y'all and G on it. Y'all don't like you and Joel targeting Banks.
Tighten Banks up is crazy. That sounds crazy.
I don't mind who you think would win. I just don't like how these niggas talk.
Records.
Jim could talk to
we in
Banks
a
like that.
different era right now.
Joel's
we in
can't.
2022.
Yeah, I wasn't sold on Joel's.
Stab ain't no walk in the park for
I wasn't sold on
I
Joel's.
said that.
Jim and Banks are goodies.
I said that.
I think Banks is a...
I wasn't sold on Joel's. Jim and Banks are goodies.
I think it's
what year they gonna stop at?
Yeah,
Fuck, y'all think this is a nostalgia era? I'm not. Y'all think this is a nostalgia era? I'm not nostalgic, nigga. I'm still lit. It's a difference. What year they gonna stop at?
2 more.
What year they gonna stop at? What's the last record they did that really meant something to somebody out here that they could still get jiggy with? Not to be disrespectful, we talking hip hop. That's what we do, right? Let's be factual. You're here. You're the hip hop almanacs and shit. Like, talk to me. Because I be hot.
The King's back. Thank y'all for tuning in again to the Blake Check. More content for your head top. Okay, now listen. Today we gotta break down a little viral clip. As you saw, Jim Jones and Mano, they just dropped the Project Lobby Boys out right now. Y'all check it out. It's pretty decent, pretty good New York music. And they went by the Joe Budden podcast, sit down, and, do a little promo. Now, one of the topics that came up was the Verzuz. Verzuz, Jim Jones, Lloyd Banks. Now, Jim started talking real crazy, as you saw, and this is coming on the heels of Joel's talking real crazy when he was on Drink Champs about he want to go up against Banks too. Now, see, this is prime era for me. I came up under both of their catalogs. Dipset, G-Unit, Lox. That was like their prime eras right there. So if you're telling me who I would pick in Jim versus Banks, honestly, I would say it like this. Jim, during Banks's run, couldn't hold a candle to Banks. But when Banks stopped consistently putting out music, Jim has consistently put out music. And these last few years, Banks put out COTI recently, which was something of the inevitable. I can't remember off the top of my head. Jim just dropped Lobby Boys. He got Capo a few years ago. He got another mixtape he put out earlier this year. And he's just nonstop. He's so consistent with it that I think maybe his volume of music is going to outweigh Banks's quality of music, because his sound is going to be heavily condensed into a specific time period. But those records that Banks got, man, if you're familiar with those records, those is timeless records, classic records. So it's going to be interesting to see if they could get it lined up. I think this will be a better matchup than Joel's and Banks. I don't think Joel's could rock with Banks. Joel's would be better fit for, going against Bleak, or even Bleak against Banks would be hot too. But the way that Jim was talking so dismissive. Hey, yo, Banks, you've been calling yourself the punchline king all your career. This ain't necessarily going to put your best punchlines on display, but this is a good time for you to use as an opportunity to get the wheels turning. He got his next album on the way, COTI 2. So this could be a good promo if he's interested. You know what I mean? He could get Yayo out there. I don't know where him and 50 stand currently, but I wouldn't be too optimistic about that. And it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, we talk about Banks' resume. He got Hunger for More, Rotten Apple. He got the mixtapes, because, the Lox went into their mixtape bag. So that's there. He could get into all of that. He got the G Unit albums to pull from. He got a good amount of features to pull from. He's done records with Kanye. He's done records with Pusha. Banks' catalog is pretty nice. Like, I forgot about his catalog a little bit when Jim first started talking this. I said, let me flip through Banks' catalog to see how it would measure out. Banks' catalog is pretty intense, man. Jim is in there though. On My Way to Church, Hustler's Poem, Capo. You got the Diplomatic Immunity albums. He even pulled out Purple City Bird Gang in the Locks vs. Dipset. So I don't know. Who y'all got, man? Who y'all picking? If I had to make a pick, if I had to make a choice, I think the live performance is going to be a heavy factor. I think the experience of Jim doing Locks vs. Dipset is going to weigh out too. And it might end up looking kind of closer to Banks versus Fab versus Jada. And, because Banks has those records for the ladies, but when you standing across somebody talking real slick and crazy, it don't hit the same. It don't hit the same. So I don't know. Food for thought, man. Y'all do the dishes. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm out of here. Who y'all got?